morning, beach divers. Good, windy, chilly, non-Florida-like morning. We are here at Keating Park. We haven't been here and dove here for about 2 years, and yet it's one of the greatest spots in the area, tucked in amongst condominiums here in South Florida. Just a little sliver of a parking lot, but it hides one of the nicest, sweetest little lobster hunting spots you could ever want. And we know where the holes are out here, so we're going to go right to them. But just to show you what we've got going on here, we've got a nice calm ocean. So courtesy of the chilly northwest wind we have coming in, that's an offshore breeze, meaning it comes across the land and smooths out the ocean, knocks down the waves and any movement, and flattens it out. So that's what we've got going on today. The water itself, in close, it's a little murky. So you can see the murkiness even from here. It looks a little bit milky in the water. That's okay, because where we're headed is just beyond the milkiness, just beyond the sandbar, and where you can see the water start to turn a little bit darker. That's where the reef is, that's where the ledges are. And if you come here to Keating Park, you can go straight out here, drop down right after you leave the sandbar, and you can start hunting the ledges from there all the way east. You can go all the way east to the west-facing wall of the first reef. It's a long kick, but it's well worth it. It's beautiful scenery there. Very seldom do divers ever visit this spot. Maybe onesies and twosies here and there, but very seldom, because most people don't know about it and it's not in any of the books. We're here today, we're going to enjoy it. We've been catching lobster on every dive. Every dive we go out, we're not even looking for the lobster, and we find them, we pick them up, bring them back, and yet 1 in 3 are keepers. So you got to measure carefully and make sure that what you're taking home is going to be the right size. Haven't seen any eggers yet, so that means that the spawning season for them hasn't really begun. They can spawn throughout the year, but there is a time when the water starts to warm back up that they enjoy doing that as they move back south. That's what we're doing today. We're going to enjoy it. Just a little word of warning: when the wind shifts to the north, and it occasionally does under conditions like this, you want to be very careful of the surf. So yesterday it did that while we were out, and the surf went from placid and calm to 4 and 5 foot rollers. So that was unusual. It made it a little bit dicey getting back in, and we saw some other divers out there. They were getting rolled in the sand and sugar cookied and everything. So be careful of that. It's better to go out here early in the morning when the wind is stable and coming out of one direction. Later on, when the sun heats things up, it changes. But we'll give you a report. We're taking a camera out with us today. We'll show you the lobster. I almost guarantee there's going to be lobster. And then you can know what to expect this weekend. Okay? Check that calendar, thebeachdiver.com. You'll see what we got coming up. Some great dives this weekend. Get your gear together. We'll see you on the beach. It's time to drop, so we go ahead and dump the air. Look down, take a look around, see what's there. Water's as murky as we thought it was going to be, but it's not too bad. We can at least see the ledges. These close-in ledges are full of fish, and the underside ought to be full of lobster. Water feels a little bit chilly, colder than I thought, so I'm going to check my computer. And sure enough, it's 72 degrees. We were prepared for 77, 78, but it felt colder. A little hogfish darting around, and the angelfish. It's nice and fishy down in this part here. Lots of soft corals, gorgonians, lots of habitat that the fish enjoy. This is really a great site. It's not this way all up and down the beach. You have to enter at a certain point to find this structure just beyond the sandbar. But once you get to the right place, it's the place to be. And we've started just beyond the sandbar. We're working our way east at this point, enjoying the sights, looking for signs of fish activity, looking for signs of reef fish, because they're going to be over the places where the lobsters are going to live. And of course, here we go. Adam's found himself one. He's going to tickle it out. He's holding the net in position, nice and still, as he tickles the lobster toward the net. Is it going to get in there? There it goes. Whoops, nope. It flew right out, and here's one of the advantages of being a baseball player. You catch it one-handed. And I hand it back to him because that's what a good sport does. It's going to measure out well. Sometimes when things are going fast, we'll stick them in the bag and then measure them, which is what Adam did. And we check all this habitat. These are perfect spots. You don't want a ledge that's too deep, because the lobsters can go all the way back in there. They like something that's only just a little bit deeper than they are. And they can feel safe, but they can still keep an eye on things. So we look for signs of small fish activity. These guys don't count. They're a little bit too big, but when you find small minnow-sized clouds of fish, they, for some reason, are usually over where a lobster is. We're going to check under each ledge. And there's Don down there peeking on his side of the ledge, looking for lobsters. And Adam's got himself another one. He was getting them one after another. He had a bag full. He definitely had his limit. I found myself one. Here he is. He's coming out to confront me. And I'm going to put the camera right onto the loop here, right on the pole, and that way you can see as I sneak that loop in behind him, moving slowly, really slow. Lobsters can see light and motion, so if you move it slow, he's not going to see it. Then you widen the loop, slide it over his tail without touching him, and then snatch it closed. And we've got him. A little bit hard to draw him in when I've got one hand on the camera and the other hand on the lobster loop, so don't get dizzy here. I'm holding on to the lobster to take him off. It's a male, and he's going to measure out just fine. Got him free of the loop. Check him out. Measure him. Stick him in the bag. And on we go. Adam's got another one. This one was right out in the open, just walking along the bottom, which is rare during the daytime hours. But he approached properly and snagged it. Snag it and bag it. And the triggerfish come in. They are attracted by the activity that's going on. They are pretty curious fish. Don looking around some more. Look how lobstery this area looks. I mean, we're not far off the beach. We're only in about 17, 18 feet of water. During the early part of the season, here come the triggerfish back. You gotta watch out for triggerfish. Sometimes they'll take a chunk out of your head or your ear, as I saw it done once. See, he's orbiting. He's got a buddy now, and they're checking me out. We're drifting along now. We're just going with the current, looking under the ledges. Don's found himself a prize, something to mount on the wall when he gets home. Such good habitat out here. We try not to disturb anything. A lot of good hard corals out here. This cowfish is showing us some his favorite places. We're getting back towards the shoreline again. We're moving back towards the beach. We're really just beyond the sandbar right now. Look, we're still finding lobsters. So a lot of people say, late in the season you can't catch any lobsters. The area's fished out. That's not really true. You just have to know where to look for them. And look here, we got a little green sea turtle. It's got a remora with him, big remora. Remora says, I don't want anything to do with these divers. He takes off, which is probably a relief for the turtle. Keating Park today, or off the beach at Keating Park. The wind is still howling, I guess because we're between the condos here. It's just rocketing right through here. It's chilly, and coming out of the water feels that much colder. But we had a great dive. We really hit the lobster. It was like having a rodeo at one point. We were all just scrambling around, getting them as they were darting back and forth. You can see my limit here. They're all scrappy and not too excited about being with me today. Don's got himself one, and as you can see, he's got himself a souvenir that he found and carried it all the way. Fortunately, he didn't find it until towards the end of the dive, so he didn't have to lug it that far, but you know, it's something nice he can go and put on his trophy wall. But anyway, that's the story here. You got to pick those places where it's going to have the right kind of structure for lobster, right kind of habitat, and also perhaps doesn't get as much fishing pressure as a lot of other places do. Those places tend to be overfished, and that's the places that guys get discouraged with. But even towards the end of the season, there's plenty of lobsters out there. You just have to know where they are, take the time to look for them, and then when you find them, then catch them. And that's all there is to it. Anyway, that's the story here. Chilly today. It's going to get warmer, I hear, tomorrow, and the water's going to be just as calm. So we're excited about that. I think we're doing the Yankee Clipper Arrow Jacks tomorrow. That's a great dive. I know we'll score more lobster there, both on the jacks, on the wreck that's north of there, and then on the reef in between there and the beach. So if you can join us, we'll be there, I think, 8:30 tomorrow morning. Take a look at that calendar at thebeachdiver.com, and we'll see you on the beach.